All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. Today we're talking about the Portland Trail Blazers. First things first, Shaedon Sharpe dropped 27 a couple of nights ago in preseason, so I had to watch the tape on that. And so I started doing some digging. I started watching, Blazers videos, shout out Blazers Uprise, and I started reading Blazer articles, and I came across this one article on The Athletic, and they did like this super deep dive on Portland, and the guy gave his prediction. I think it was John Hollinger. He gave his prediction, and he went 36-46, 11th in the West. And so I can understand why some people are concerned about the Portland Trail Blazers, and it has nothing to do with offense. It's all defensive related. The last 3 or 4 seasons, they've been one of the 3, if not the worst team like they were last year on defense in the entire NBA. However, the roster is completely different. There's a lot of the same players, Damian Lillard, Nurkic, Simons, but they made some really good moves that I think are just being overlooked. And I'll start it off with Jeremy Grant. I think Jeremy Grant gets disrespected because he was on the Detroit Pistons. And the Detroit Pistons, especially in the last 2 years Jeremy was there, they were rebuilding. So he was the best player on the worst team in the league, and he wasn't given any respect. What we saw, and especially, I saw it in, I think last night's game against Sacramento, he's a scorer. He's just a bucket. Jeremy Grant's a walking bucket. He can shoot it from downtown. He can finish at the rim. He can knock down mid-rangers. He's got some post moves. Jeremy Grant's a guy you can play at the 3. He's a guy you can play at the 4. He can guard the 3. He can guard the 4. He's a reliable basketball player, and people are going to remember Jeremy Grant after this season. He was pretty low-key once he was done with Denver. He's pretty low-key when he was with Detroit, and he'll probably still be pretty low-key being in Portland. But Portland Blazers fans, you'll see the impact right away. And if you've been watching some of the preseason games, I know it's preseason and we're taking it with a grain of salt. He's playing like Jeremy Grant. He's playing like Jeremy Grant. Moving on, we just saw Josh Hart got promoted to the starting unit. This is something, I'm a pretty big fan of Josh Hart being a starter. I think he should have closed games regardless. I like Nasir Little. We saw Nasir Little shoot 33% from downtown. He's very young still. I think he's ready to at least take a little bit of a jump. At the minimum, Nasir Little is going to take a little bit of a jump. Right? He's going to continue to get better. He's going to continue to develop. He's going to continue to progress. But Josh Hart, 15-7-4. I know he got traded to Portland last season and doesn't technically count as a new addition. But Portland, with Dame being out, they shut Dame down. They shut down Nurkic. They shut down Simons. And they went, 2-21 in their final 23 games, as they should have. They were thinking smart. You got Sharpe. We'll talk about Sharpe in a second here. But Josh Hart is a Swiss Army knife. I don't know if he's necessarily going to give you 15-7-4 every night starting. Now that he's starting, we might finally see Josh Hart, on the stat sheet, be like, damn, Josh Hart's really good. I feel like Josh is one of those players, especially in New Orleans, where, unless you're watching the Pelicans games, if you're just box score watching and you see Josh Hart, you probably think he's just like an average, solid role player to have. He's more than an average NBA player, and he's more than a solid role player to have on your team. He's your starting 3. And when you have a backcourt of Damian Lillard and Anthony Simons, first off, Simons will get subbed out of the starting unit probably in 4 minutes, 4 or 5 minutes, something like that, and he'll run with the bench squad, and he'll feast. 17-3-4 for Simons last season before they shut him down. He's also poised to take that jump. I think that's kind of what the article was saying, Portland's got a lot of young guys. They should have rebuilt it. They should have traded away Damian Lillard, got a king's ransom, and built around Simons and Sharpe. I'm like, to me, I have my franchise guy. My franchise guy is Damian Lillard, and once Damian Lillard retires, he's 32 years old. He'll be with Portland for several more seasons, in my opinion. Then you move on to Simons. Then you move on to Sharpe. Maybe even Keon Johnson. But we're talking years down the line here. I don't get this mediocrity, but it's not even mediocrity. It's not like the Blazers are being portrayed as this mediocre, average, middle-of-the-pack team. They're being portrayed as this below-average, you should have traded Damian Lillard. Look at what the Utah Jazz got. You should have traded Damian Lillard. It's too late to trade Dame now, so you're going to be stuck as a lower-end team for the next couple of seasons. Is it because of defense? Well, The point I was trying to make is, if you're worried about the Simons and Damian Lillard backcourt, first off, they are going to score a lot of points. Portland in general is going to be a top 10 offense. That's the first step right there, is top 10 offense. A healthy Damian Lillard, I think a lot of people forgot in just general NBA media. I think they forgot Damian Lillard's presence and just what he offers your basketball team. I mean, he will single-handedly win you games. He can single-handedly keep you in games. He can single-handedly keep you in a series. Like, Damian Lillard's a superstar, and that's what superstars do, but he's not really being credited as a superstar right now just because of the recent injuries, specifically, the injury last year that held him out for a very long time. Portland had to get rid of CJ. They had to get rid of Powell. They had to get rid of Covington because of money. And I think that with what they had to work with, they did a phenomenal job. Gary Payton II as well is another gem of a move. You look at Gary Payton II's stats, you're watching his stats, and you're like 7-4-1. I don't care. Maybe a steal and I don't care. I'd care. The Golden State Warriors, I'll tell you, of all the players, they lost, 5 or 6 players, Golden State. The most critical guy you didn't want to lose was Gary Payton II. When Gary Payton got injured in that Memphis series, their team took a hit. And there were people saying losing Gary Payton might lose Golden State the series. They might lose in the playoffs because Gary Payton's injured. Came back, demonstrated his worth. It's not like he's a sharp-shooting three-point shot guy, but he does everything. Just like Josh Hart, another guy who does everything, except I guess maybe shoot at a really consistent clip like Josh Hart, 35+% three-point shooter. Let's take a look real quick at, I don't have it off the top of my head. Well, first off, Gary Payton shot 36% from downtown, so that'll play. He's a career 32% three-point shooter, so not a sharp shooter, but 36% from downtown, that's actually something I did not know. What it's going to come down to with your main guys in your starting unit, so that's pretty much all the starters. Damian Lillard, Jusuf Nurkic, stay healthy. Stay healthy. Nurkic, when he's healthy, can be a monster when he decides he wants to be a monster. 15, 11, and 3. We'll talk about the playoffs. We'll talk about defense once or if it becomes an issue. But a lot of people like to knock on Portland's big man depth right now. Personally, maybe it's because I'm an outsider, but Olivier Saric, this is a 7-footer from Wake Forest and Kentucky who, in his rookie season last year with Oklahoma, first off, a couple nights ago, he had 4 blocks coming off the bench. I think that was in the Sacramento game. Saric put up 45% from downtown. He gave you 7 and 4, a block a night at 7 feet, and shot 46% from downtown in 20 or so games, averaging 20 a night. That works for me. Trendon Watford, Summer League MVP. Future's looking very bright for him. Drew Eubanks, I remember making Blazers videos in the summer and people weren't too big on Drew Eubanks. He's still a young guy, 25 years old. He's not really necessarily a rim protector, but I like what he can give me on offense. Greg Brown III, maybe he can take a leap. Keon Johnson, I know he shot abysmally. I think the stat was 38% from the field last year. However, he's a 3-and-D. He's an athletic freak, 3-and-D potential, and you just need him to continue taking those steps. Just continue to do it. Justice Winslow, I think, is a really underrated, low-key player as well that they acquired in that trade last season. 6'4" 2". Winslow's one of those guys where if Hart gets sick or Grant gets sick or one of these guys rolls their ankle, I feel really comfortable with Justice Winslow being in your starting lineup for however long you need to rely on him. That's my opinion. I can't believe I didn't talk about Sharp all the way until just now. Sharp, if he can consistently knock down his three-point shots, I don't want to say he will be the best rookie out of the draft in a couple of years, but he has that potential. That's why he got picked where he got picked. A lot of people were worried because of injuries, just not seeing him play college ball at Kentucky last season. I know Sharp has, first preseason game struggled where he shot 2 of 10. Next game, struggled a little bit, but looks a little bit better. Comes out, drops 27 on, I think it was 10 of 14 from the field. Shadon Sharp in transition is going to be a beast. This team in transition are going to be beasts. if Sharp can provide solid role-playing minutes and work his way into that rotation, they're that much deeper. Portland, I look at this team, they're at least 10 deep. You are at least 10 deep. And that's, to me, with the top heaviness of Damian Lillard, Simon's ready for another breakout season. New additions, Jeremy Grant, Gary Payton, Sharp. I'll throw in Josh Hart on that list. This team is not winning less than 36 games unless something catastrophic were to happen. Let me know what you guys think. Hit the like button, hit that sub button. Catch you guys later.